Good evening. It's 6:30 and I will ask the Vice Chairman to read the opening statement, which will be followed by a short pause for reflection.
We are summoned here to make decisions which bind our authority for time to come. So let us do so in an atmosphere of dignity, goodwill, respect and calm. May those decisions be just and fair and in the long-term best interest of the people who live and work in our beautiful county of Dorset.
So welcome everyone to our December full council meeting. Please may I take the opportunity to remind members that for this evening's meeting, all members of council will debate the items in the normal way and will take a minded to decision at the end of the debate. I will then ask the Chief Executive to take the formal decision under the extended delegated powers for openness and transparency. Agenda item 1 is apologies. Do we have any, Susan?
Thank you, Chairman. I've received apologies from Councillor Alex Brenton and Councillor Knock Lacey Clark.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any? I can't see any hands.
No.
I'm just going to put that on. Sorry. What's that on there?
I see no declarations, Chairman.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 is to receive a presentation. I'd like to welcome and introduce Rachel Brannigan and Emily Caddock from Wessex Reserve Forces and Cadets Association, who are with us this evening, along with Kevin Moore, Programme Coordinator, Dorset Armed Forces Covenant Programme. Rachel and Emily, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening. Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Yes, my name is Rachel Brannigan. I'm from Wessex Reserve Forces and Cadets Association. We're responsible for the delivery of the Armed Forces Covenant to the employers in the South West region, and we deal with the three-tiered employer recognition scheme, of which Dorset Council successfully achieved silver in 2021. I will touch shortly on what the employer recognition scheme is, just for people's awareness if they don't know. So there's 3 tiers. It starts with bronze, which is to pledge your support. So you're pledging your support to the armed forces community in various different ways. Silver is to demonstrate. So you demonstrate how you have used those pledges that you've pledged in the bronze level and administered those in that period of time. That award is boarded annually by a tri-service board held in the summer months, and when successful with that, you're awarded that usually in the winter time, so between sort of October and December time. The gold award advocates support to defence. So this looks at ways in which you advocate the Armed Forces Covenant and how you put measures in place for your internal infrastructure, so perhaps having an internal veterans breakfast in a large employer, for instance, or getting your supply chain or your sort of chambers of commerce involved and pledging and advocating the covenant to them. So those 3 levels of the employer recognition scheme are something that we've worked with Dorset Council on, and obviously they've been successful with silver. That's about it from me. I didn't want to go on too much, but if anyone has any questions on the employer recognition scheme award before the presentation goes ahead, please feel free to ask me.
Thank you very much. Councillor Walsh, as the Council's Armed Forces Covenant champion, would you like to respond?
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you, Rachel. Members, colleagues, I'm very proud to be Dorset's member champion for the military, and we should all be very proud of Dorset Council for having achieved the silver employer recognition standard. But we are not resting on our laurels, no. because we are committed to achieving the gold standard for which we are planning to make an application next year. This award is recognition of the Council's continued commitment to the support of the armed forces community in Dorset and of its support to its staff who are part of that community. The Council are proud to be leading the partnership that is overseeing the Covenant programme in Dorset, and I'm proud to be the Chairman of the Board and Vice Chairman of the South West Regional Board, because we are punching so far above our weight, it's incredible. We are ensuring that the promise by the nation laid down in the Armed Forces Covenant is delivered here in Dorset. Chairman, one of the reasons that we're doing so very well, locally, regionally and nationally, is due in no small part to a very special Matlow, who has worked so hard winning Dorset national recognition, and we are very fortunate to have that man, Kev Moore, overseeing the Armed Forces Covenant programme in his role as programme coordinator. Thank you, Kev. And yes, you are right. In your own words, you are truly amazing, especially for a Matlow. Chairman, members, as I've said, your council is actively involved in Covenant activity at a regional level, and the Dorset Partnership is nationally recognised as an innovative and progressive partnership. The Silver ERS Award is in part recognition of that status and of the measures in place to support our staff that are part of the Armed Forces community. I will now hand over to your Chief Executive, Matt Prosser.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. I'd like to present the certificate to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Wow.
Big round of applause for everybody not watching. We'll sit down so that you can see it on the screen.
Here we are. It's very smart, and I thank you very, very much. On behalf of the council, it'll look very nice in the chairman's office. Thank you. If you put that somewhere, thank you very much. I see we have a request to speak from Councillor Paul Kimber.
Thank you, Chair, fellow councillors. I wonder if you could give us up, and I'm very proud to see that we've won this award, and I'm very keen on ex-forces. I happen to be an ex-sailor myself, or Matlow, that came to Portland via the Navy and sailed in and never sailed out. I wonder if anybody could give us an overview on the position for housing ex-servicemen. Thank you.
If you don't mind, Councillor Kimber, I'd be very happy to give you a written response to that question, unless Councillor Carr Jones is happy to just talk on his feet. I think a proper written response would be the answer to your question. Thank you.
Absolutely, Chairman. It's not the forum to do that at the moment. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm happy to wait. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Kimber. Agenda items 4 is the Chairman's announcement. Since our last meeting, we've lost 2 good servants of our county. I would like to ask Councillor Mary Penfold to pay tribute to former West Dorset District Councillor Terry Farmer.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Terence Peter Farmer, known to us all as Terry. Terry was born in Westwood near Bradford-on-Avon. He loved books and often used his lunch money when younger to buy them. He moved to Sherborne with his wife Christine in the 70s in order for Terry to take up a post at the Western Gazette. In his younger days, Terry was a supporter of the traditional Liberal Party, but by the time he moved to Sherborne, he was a Conservative. He held many posts in the West Dorset Conservative Association, including Association Chairman and President, eventually becoming a life President. While at the Western Gazette, he was elected to the Town Council and was Mayor on 4 occasions. He initiated a mayor's charity evening, raising funds for local good causes. Another of Terry's passions was the Victorian Music Hall. He organised many of these evenings over the years. Christine died in 1992, and in 1995 Terry was elected to West Dorset District Council and served there until 2019, until the authority ceased to exist. During this time, he was Conservative group leader and a member of the Executive Committee. He was a founder member of the Somerset and Dorset Family History Society and had a remarkable memory for genealogy. His house was full to overflowing. He loved dogs, especially fox terriers, and was very knowledgeable on this subject. Terry was very kind, a loyal friend, always encouraging others, but not very practical. He loved talking to people and shopped more to see everyone than to buy goods. We will miss his frequent phone calls, often very long, which kept us up to date with all the news. We will miss his kindness, his sense of humour, and his generosity. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Penfold. I now invite Councillor Rebecca Knox to say a few words in tribute for the sad loss of Darren Gunter, Chief Fire Officer for Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Services.
Thank you, Chairman. This is not a speech that I really wanted to make because Darren was taken too early. That is what the social media outpouring have said. He was an inspirational man. Those were the other comments that have been made very frequently on social media. He changed lives. What he achieved in the fire service was nothing short of remarkable, and he clearly worked tirelessly to reach the pinnacle of his chosen career. And he did choose that career at a very young age. Born in Blaenau, Wales, where his parents and many relations still live. Darren chose the fire service, public service, at a young age. And as one of his chief fire officer colleagues said, he was hardworking, supportive, incredibly bright, and great fun. He pioneered prevention, transforming the fire service with no extra revenue to one which has now included prevention in the inspection of fire services across the country. It is a pillar of inspection which is now adopted throughout all of the UK. And he had that vision which he acted on. He didn't just say it, he actually followed through and delivered. His words at many meetings I can remember, and it as chairman of the Fire Authority, I often thought, wow, can we? But he always said, we can do that. We can do that. And wherever he said that, others were led by him. He invented safe and independent living, which is now embedded in the fire service and with us as Dorset Council in our social services and children's service and anywhere we can prevent and actually make one contact count. Top boss is other inspirational things that people have said. Best chief, always had time to speak. His legacy is a man who made a real difference and served his community. He loved living in Dorset. We often went for walks with our dogs across the many Dorset walks, always followed by a cup of tea and chips and doggy ice cream for our dogs. He was a much loved person from all the community and all of us, I know. He loved music and played the Stereophonics and Mumford and Son very loudly, as much as he possibly could. Though he loved living in Dorset, he never forgot his Welsh roots. And there was never probably a meeting we had when he didn't mention the latest rugby score for the Welsh team. Often extolling their wins and sometimes hiding from when they might not have succeeded. He was a doer. He never stops. He retired in 2016 from being our chief officer for Dorset and Wiltshire. That transformation again was inspirational. But when he did go into retirement, which I didn't really believe, he was fixated by getting bargains on eBay, fixing up his much loved home for his family and friends. He really enjoyed entertaining, and the catalogue that he passed me most when I came to him with my DIY problems at home was the Screwfix catalogue. He really knew how to fix up anything. He was taken too soon, and there are words which I would like to just say on behalf of his family, who I'm in contact with, of course, which I hope actually say it all. Dad gave everything in life his absolute best, selflessly always considering others. He was always up for a challenge, no matter what it would be, and this proved last year when he first became unwell. He took on his illness head first, and no matter what setback he faced, he was ready to continue his fight. Dad's positivity, courage and determination during his fight will stay with us forever. Dad strongly believed in giving young people a first chance in life, and through his commitment in schemes such as the Prince's Trust and Spark, many lives have been changed. His commitment to prevention and education in his career has been vital, and we are so proud as a family for Dad for all of his successes, especially having the vision to set up SafeWise, RoadWise and HealthWise. We never truly realised the impact that Dad had on other people's lives. If I'm honest, as he was too humble to come home and tell us everything he'd done. But we know his legacy will live on, no matter what. And now we know that there are individual lives which have been significantly changed by Dad's compassion, care and commitment. And I say that says it all. That's from Reese, his younger son, on behalf of his family. So Darren, our thoughts are with your family. You did go too early, but rest in peace. We will remember you.
Thank you very much, councillors, both of you, for your tributes. They were said with appreciation and warmth, actually. Thank you. I just have one or two things to mention to members before we carry on with the agenda. You will recall that with the help of Her Majesty's Lord Lieutenant, I recently planted an English oak tree outside of the County Hall to launch Her Majesty's Green Canopy Initiative. Members were also emailed to ask for information on what plans were being made by our towns and parishes. Please can I remind you to feedback all activity to Judy Saunders so that the information on Dorset's efforts can be collated and reported back to the Queen's Green Canopy Board for mapping. Secondly, I'd like to mention the Volunteer Heroes Awards, which we, in partnership with other agencies, are promoting. Please give your towns and parishes a nudge and ask them to nominate either an individual or group for an award. Nomination forms can be downloaded and are also in the current Dorset Council News, which is going through everyone's letterboxes. They have until the 31st of January to get their nominations in. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of the fantastic effort that's been made by our Dorset volunteers since the start of the pandemic, and we all need to show our appreciation. Thank you. Agenda item 5 is public participation, questions and statements. And I'm going to invite officers to read out the questions and statements submitted by 3 members of the public. First of all, question 1, which will be read by our Chief Executive, Matt Prosser.
Thank you, Chair. Question 1, submitted by Tess James, co-chair of the Dorchester Opportunity Group. What are the costs of school tribunals for children with additional needs, and how many are successful?
Thank you. We will receive a response from Councillor Andrew Parry.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you to Tess James for the question. In response, the costs are for 2020-2021 academic year. Total expenditure on all appeals, £59,344.35. With regard to the outcomes of tribunals, in 2020-21, the Council received 61 tribunal appeals. The outcomes are as follows. 12 remain pending. 32 were resolved outside of the hearing, such as through mediation or discussion. 8 went to tribunal and were found in favour of the parent. 2 were found in favour of the local authority, with a further 7 where the parents withdrew from the tribunal during the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Parry. Question 2 will be read by Jonathan Mayer.
Thank you, Chairman. Question 2 is submitted by Helen Sumbler. Further to the submission of the bus service improvement plan in October, have Dorset Council received any response from government? And if not, when does the council expect to learn whether the bids for funds from the Bus Back Better Fund has been successful? Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, and we will receive a response by Councillor Ray Bryan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, Helen Sumler, for both your interest and question. The message I've received from the Department of Transport is that there are no further updates on BSIP funding. The department is currently completing the assessment of the bus service improvement plan. More than 75 were submitted and will make an announcement soon. No definite timeline was given. You can be assured that when we hear, our communications team will send out press release and will be announced via the Dorset website. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much. Question 3 will be read by Matt Prosser.
Thank you, Chair. So question 3 is submitted by Helen Sumber again. Will Dorset Council consider consulting with residents about additional sources of income, such as setting up a new charitable trust or partnering with a registered charity, to take donations from council taxpayers and others should they wish to contribute more to their council tax bill, and or setting up a local lottery? Such additional income sources could then be used to assist with funding the extraordinary demands for funding from the implementation of climate and ecological emergency strategy and plans, either directly or indirectly.
Thank you very much, Matt. We will receive a response from Councillor Ray Bryan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Previously, Dorset Council consulted with our residents and community groups about support for a community lottery that will have a direct benefit for Dorset's small community groups. The response provided evidence that the majority were supportive of this, as long as it did not provide instant gratification and therefore would encourage addictive vulnerabilities. The community lottery we are developing will have a direct debit payment system, which therefore eliminates the instant gratification associated with gambling addiction. Our communities and partnerships team have begun to develop the project of getting it started with original commencement date of June 2020. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing uncertainty of the pandemic and the additional responsibilities our small community groups took on during this time, and the COVID community response work the communities and partnership team needed to pick up, we took the hard decision that this would not be an appropriate time to launch a project which would add an additional burden to our groups, and took the decision to pause the launch. A decision will be taken in the new year as to when it will be appropriate time to restart the project. Typically, for council operated lotteries, 60p for every £1 ticket sold goes to the good causes which sell the tickets. Normally 20p from every ticket goes into the central fund, which is used for community causes. It would be possible for some or all of this central fund to be used on projects which have a climate and ecological sustainability theme. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bryan. Next, we have a statement which will be read by Jonathan Mayer.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a statement of thanks submitted by Sandra Reeve of the Dorset Climate Action Network. We would like to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Ray Bryan and all of those involved for the excellent letter that was sent on 5th November 2021 during COP26 to key members of central government calling for further help in tackling the climate and ecological emergency. We wholeheartedly support the intention to invest in a new environmentally sound infrastructure that will help prevent and address the worst consequences of man-made climate change. We agree that there is a need for improvements to national standards, legislation and procedures so that councils can be provided with new powers, responsibilities and funding to deliver an inclusive and green recovery. We feel that such powers should include town and parish councils as well, as we all strive for zero emissions in Dorset as quickly as possible. We were glad to see outlined the specific requests for removing hurdles for renewable energy deployment, increased enforceable standards for building insulation and energy efficiency, and increased powers to refuse planning permission for developments that negatively impact on our environment, more investment in sustainable public transport infrastructure and active travel, stronger support for digital infrastructure and flexible working. We agree that with appropriate support, Dorset has the skills to build prosperity around a sustainable, green-led economy. We recognise alongside Dorset Council that we need to engage with the public to encourage behavioural changes as we move towards net zero emissions. And as part of this, we need to address public perception that putting environmental and ecological benefits ahead of all else means an unacceptable level of sacrifice and compromise. As well as thanking Dorset Council, Dorset can, with all of its levels of expertise and its passions, would like to respond by saying, we are ready at any stage to be part of the Climate Partnership Forum proposed by Dorset Council and to co-create a public engagement programme with you to promote and sustain the climate and ecological strategy. As part of that partnership forum, we are willing to co-create an educational outreach programme to support the steady growth of climate change awareness, community resilience, and the capacity to adapt to the changes that will occur in Dorset. Finally, Dorset would like to wish Dorset Council a happy Christmas with your friends and family and a peaceful new year, and to say thank you once again for all that you are doing on behalf of the county that we love to call our home. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Councillor Bryan, would you like to give us a response to that wonderful statement?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you for Dorset Can and their statement. The statement from Sandra Reeve of Dorset Climate Action Network, and I've got to say, whilst my name is the one mentioned, I feel it would not be right if I didn't explain that all sections of this council took part in the putting together of these letters. We have done a great deal of work working towards the council becoming carbon zero by 2040 or earlier. As I have already said, this is teamwork at its best, and I would be very happy to meet with Dorset Can and listen to their thoughts on the way forward. Thank you for allowing me to do that, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Bryan. Agenda item 6 is public participation, petitions and deputations, and we have none this evening. So on to agenda item 7, announcements and reports from the leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairman, and good evening, everybody. I'm first of all going to refer to my leader's bulletin, which as usual will be published later this evening. I want to start by talking about children's services rated good by Ofsted, and it won't be the first time we've all heard that. But colleagues, I make no excuse for reminding everyone about the incredible outcome achieved by children's services at Dorset Council, which has been judged as good by Ofsted following an inspection of local authority children's services in September. The final report published by Ofsted confirmed that the overall effectiveness of Dorset Council's children's services are of a good quality and continue to improve, that the council has delivered an impressive pace of an effectiveness of change in the context of a pandemic and local reorganisation in 2019, and we should never overlook that. Inspectors also noted the council had a proven determination to give every child in Dorset a bright future. Dorset Council was judged to have outstanding leadership for children's services, noting that senior leaders had taken the challenges presented by the pandemic as an opportunity to engage partners and more firmly into the wider safeguarding agenda and the vision of making Dorset the best place to be for the children to thrive. Well done to everyone who played their part in this important progress, which must continue, of course. I want to just talk briefly, even I'm not going to dwell on this too long tonight, Chairman, but climate and ecological strategy, the way forward. I've mentioned in here the funds we already received from government, and there's other opportunities coming along, and I won't still raise thunder. That's for another day, but I've just touched on it briefly in my bulletin this evening. But what I've taken a little bit longer about is the preparation for the 2022-23 budget and the medium-term financial plan. The financial challenges facing local government sector are huge for the next year and in the medium term. We've held 2 really successful budget cafes for members during November, and reports are being considered by the People and Health Scrutiny Committee, with the place and resources, which I understand will take place in early January. The budget proposal we put to the Cabinet in January for recommendation to full council, I think it's on the 15th of February. It will be a balanced budget because it has to be. Not only because it is a legal requirement, but also because of the way in which we've used a zero-based approach to the budget preparations this year. And a huge thanks to members and officers who have been involved in all the hard and challenging work in bringing together a workable and achievable budget. There is absolutely no doubt that Dorset Council has been consistently underfunded by governments of all colours, and that's nothing new. Since the creation of Dorset Council, I've written to ministers on a regular basis and lobbied both directly and indirectly through support intervention by Dorset MPs. And at this point, Chairman, I want to go away from what I've written in my bulletin and just reflect a little bit on, when I can find it, all prepared. Excuse me a minute, Chairman, I need to find my bit of paper. I've got some notes that I took as a result of sitting in on the scrutiny committee, which I'm struggling to find at the moment. So I'm going to have to try and remember what I said. But a number of the comments made in the committee, particularly around the need for us to lobby government, I found quite astonishing, because if I look back, and I have looked back, quite rightly so, at some of the things I've done in the last this year alone. I've found my note now, Chairman. In all my leaders' bulletins in 21, I've mentioned the lobbying that's been going on around the inadequate funding of Dorset Council. I've lobbied ministers about funding. Number of letters to local government secretaries of state, which have changed, and other ministers. I had a Zoom meeting with Luke Hall and Robert Jenrick when they were in post. And I've got a request in for a further conversation with Michael Gove, and I hope I will get that opportunity early in the new year. I had an opportunity to ask the Chancellor a question during a Zoom discussion regarding proper funding for Shire councils, particularly the additional cost burden caused by rurality. And recognition for this was an issue, but we will need to wait for the review of the local government settlement, which is I hope will be a multi-year arrangement. Joint lobbying of government through the County Council Network, Chairman, the Local Government Association, LGA, most of us know, the District Council Network, the DCN, South West councils, being a signatory to letters to the Secretary of State for local government as vice chairman of the South West councils, one of them. We've had regular meetings with the Dorset MPs, and we continue to lobby for a fair deal for Dorset. Comments were also made in the scrutiny committee about the anticipated one-year settlement disappointment when a multi-year settlement had been expected. At the CCN conference in November, the general consensus was that was not what we expected, allowing the new Secretary of State responsible for local government the opportunity to lobby on our behalf would actually, we think gives him a chance. So when we do get a 3-year settlement, which I believe will be next time round, hopefully we'll get a better deal than what we would have currently got. So I don't think 1-year settlement this year was disappointing. I don't think it's a negative in quite the way it was suggested. So I think I had the inside knowledge of talking to other leaders across the country and listening to comments from various quarters in government. I think we ought to be hopefully optimistic about what the future holds. So I hope my update on the facts relating to the ongoing lobbying of government offers a reassurance to members of the council and the public at large. And this council has and will continue to punch its weight on the national stage in campaigning for a better deal for Dorset. And I will end on a festive note, Chairman. I hope you found my briefing interesting, and can I therefore wish you all a really happy Christmas and healthy and successful New Year. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting, and I feel we all wish you the same joyful Christmas, actually. I think we have requests to speak.
Councillor Andrew Parry.
Councillor Andrew Parry, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you to the leader for his kind words in respect to the Ofsted report for Children's Services. It is indeed a privilege to be the Cabinet Member for Children's Services at a time that has seen great transformation in how we deliver services. We set out to deliver good and outstanding for the children and young people of Dorset, to be bold and ambitious in our aspiration for them, and to ensure that they thrive, and we continue to do that. But could I take the opportunity also to thank our officers and directors across Children's Services who have worked enormously hard in the delivery of this, and with the assistance and support of Council, and this is the first opportunity we've had as full Council to reflect on the Ofsted report, and also of course our partner organisations who have all played their role in delivering what is such fantastic news for Dorset. There is one part of the report that I feel we should take particular pride in, which is that good work is expected, delivered and celebrated. And I hope the leader would pick up on that suggestion, that perhaps that should be the mantra for Dorset Council throughout 2022 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Parry.
Councillor Ray Bryan.
Councillor Ray Bryan, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Can I take the opportunity to congratulate our leader on his persistence in sending the message to central government that Dorset needs a fair settlement. In my own portfolio, we continue to apply for money when available, as do all sections of this council. Spencer, your continual contact with all Dorset MPs will, I'm sure, eventually get the message through that Dorset deserves better funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bryan.
Councillor Robin Legg.
Councillor Robin Legg.
Thank you, Chairman. Really a short question for the leader, and that is, you know, I think we could all congratulate you on your efforts of lobbying with members of Parliament in Dorset, but the real fundamental problem here is that this is a situation which has persisted for decades. Dorset, both collectively and as local authorities which were districts, have suffered for many, many years with a persistent underfunding. And I just wonder what you attribute that to, because we don't seem to have broken through and made any kind of impact really on the people that really matter. And I just wonder whether we're not perhaps lobbying in the right group, whether we ought to be trying to make common cause with other local authorities that are similarly afflicted by the fact that they're at the bottom of the pile.
Happy to respond, Chairman, if you wish.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah, a couple of points. Robbie makes a couple of good points there. It's interesting that it's been announced already, and we're just waiting. I think it's this week. It might be Thursday to find out what share of 1.6 billion Dorset Council is going to receive. I know there's a range, and it just depends on what model they use to do the calculations. But I'm absolutely convinced, in talking to my colleague leaders across the country, that that is a direct result of all the lobbying that's gone on from the sector. You know, we've seen a decade where funding's been sucked away from local government in one form or another during austerity and so on. And we got to a point now where we have to go back with the local government needs more money from government. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I think this is the first step in a number of steps. As I get talking to colleagues around the country, I'm optimistic actually that when they do the review of the settlement process, the matrix, and that's the thing that Robin, you pointed out, that's the thing that will impact on how much we actually get when we get a deal. Okay, is that part of that review?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Who's next, please?
Councillor Shane Bartlett.
Councillor Shane Bartlett, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And I do appreciate the work and the commitment that the leader has put into lobbying in Westminster and lobbying our MPs. He and I have spoken many times privately about the work that he's doing in Westminster to try and get Dorset on the agenda in Westminster. And what I would like to ask is, being as our MPs are servants to the people, just the same as we are as ward members, would it be possible, and I don't see why it shouldn't be, that we ask the MPs to come into a webinar to address Dorset councillors just what they are doing in Westminster to lobby for Dorset to get a better funding deal for Dorset? I don't see that they would be able to deny us that. And I would like to ask that if we could arrange that and bring that about, have the MPs come into a webinar in Dorset Council to explain to the members across the floor what they are doing in Westminster. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a question for the leader, is it?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to answer Shane's question. Can I take it away and have a conversation?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Flower.
You're welcome.
Okay. Councillor Paul Kimber.
Thank you, Chair. There's been some good points tonight, and I don't deny that that our council leader Spencer Flower hasn't worked hard on behalf of the people of Dorset. But I think we could, and this is where we could use our own party system much more in lobbying the shadow ministers and those areas. And I believe that could be something that we could look into in the future. I think we're just missing that area that we could really put the pressure on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kimber. Okay. If everybody's happy with that, we will move on to agenda item 8, please. Questions from councillors. The first question is submitted.
Chairman, I don't believe the leader has completed item 7 yet.
Thank you.
Yes, Chairman. I think it might be an opportunity to invite Peter Wharf in. I think it will be useful with his portfolio hat on, just give us a bit of an update on the situation that's occurring at the moment.
Yes, please, Councillor Wharf. I'm sorry I didn't give you the opportunity to jump in.
Thank you, Chairman. We had agreed it, so I just thought I'd get in before I lost it.
Yes, quite right.
Members, we held a meeting of the Dorset Local Outbreak Engagement Board yesterday, and this is chaired by Sam Grow, the Director of Public Health. and contains a number of people representing areas and organisations across Dorset, including our own Chief Executive and the Chairman of the Health and Wellbeing Board, Councillor Rebecca Knox. We had an extremely helpful, constructive discussion on the situation, particularly following the government guidelines that have been announced just recently. And Tim Goodson of CCG and others were there to talk through how they were going to react to these latest guidelines. And we were there to talk about what we viewed their actions, if we had any comments, and how we might help. And I agreed with Sam Grow, the Director of Public Health Dorset, that he would produce for me a message that I could pass to you, because this is particularly timely, and I thought it would be really helpful to pass a message to you, which is a message that we're going to post in the chat line. We're going to send by email to every single member, and we're going to hope that you manage to use it to promulgate some of the key messages that we want. So I'm reading a prepared statement which is produced by Dorset Local Outbreak Engagement Board, chaired by Sam Crow. And as a result, I will not be answering any questions on the content because it's not my report, but I subscribe and very strongly support it. Councillors, this briefing contains important information about the current COVID situation in Dorset, the work being done to rapidly expand the vaccination programme, and the pressures on the health and care system. Please can I urge you all to help by sharing this information with your local communities. You can all play an important role by helping to manage public expectations while the system gears up to provide more vaccination appointments, reminding people of how to reduce the spread of COVID, and supporting the call for relatives to help family members be discharged from hospital where possible. So this would be hugely appreciated. So first of all, the current COVID situation, the local situation from the 3rd to the 9th of December, the current case rates per 100,000 are Dorset Council 555, BCP Council 622, the South West 548, and England 512. And there are 87 people in hospital across the whole of Dorset with COVID-19, and cases of the Omicron variant have now been identified within both BCP and Dorset Council areas. The second item I want to talk about is the Dorset COVID-19 vaccination programme update, and we're expanding the vaccination programme. The Dorset Health and Care System is pulling out all the stops to expand the vaccination programme as quickly as possible following the Prime Minister's announcement on Sunday, i.e. all adults over 18 to be offered their booster vaccination by the end of December. Excuse me. Dorset Council is supporting NHS partners with finding more venues for vaccinations, recruiting more volunteers and redeploying staff as required. Please be patient while we get everything in place. This is a monumental effort as the NHS continues to deliver the largest vaccination programme in its history. So how and where do Dorset residents get their booster jab? The best way to get your vaccination at a time and place that suits you is to book ahead. You can either wait for your GP practice to contact you or book via the National Booking Service, NBS, to get your booster at a larger centre or pharmacy. Local GPs-led vaccine services are offering the vaccine to the most vulnerable so that they are invited to get their booster first. We are now running 2 vaccination centres in Dorset, Vespasian House, Dorchester, and Kings Park Hospital, Bournemouth. They have appointment slots for both children and adults. Both centres are very busy and walk-in availability is very, very limited. Please make an appointment using the national booking system. We're working extremely hard to increase availability, so please be patient. Please keep trying as appointments are being added all of the time. And if a local venue isn't showing on the system, it may well be full. Please check again later as appointments are being added all the time. It's busy. Keep trying. Be patient. Be kind. So how can you help? Well, there's still time for people to get a first or second dose of the vaccine. Do encourage those who've not yet had theirs to come forward. Secondly, we need more vaccinators. If people have appropriate expertise and experience, we offer training, and we'd love to get you on board the largest NHS vaccination programme in history. Find out more and apply today. And there's a website which will be on here, and it's basically joinourdorset.nhs.uk/vaccinators/, and there are 2 C's in vaccinations. Please share our campaign. We'd like to thank everyone for supporting this continuing rollout, staff, volunteers and the public. Thank you very, very much indeed. The vaccine provides good protection against serious illness, but please continue to do what you can to help reduce the transmission of COVID-19 by remembering to keep testing before you meet with others or visit high-risk settings. Work from home if you can, wear a mask in indoor public spaces, and remember the importance of ventilation. Finally, I'd like to talk about the pressures on the Dorset health and care system. The Dorset NHS and social care system is in an extremely demanding period with a difficult winter ahead. Our social care colleagues continue to work incredibly hard together with care providers to support our residents to be discharged from hospital. However, the system is extremely stretched due to the ongoing pandemic and shortages of care workers, as we are seeing both in Dorset and across the country. Alongside local clinicians, we are appealing to relatives and friends who can play a key part in helping family members and friends who are medically fit to be able to leave hospital in the run-up to Christmas. People tend to be more comfortable and to recover more quickly at home. If relatives can help their loved ones on a regular basis, they are being asked to please speak to the team planning their care, as it may mean they can go home from hospital a few days earlier. The kind of help that people may need from relatives and friends includes support with shopping, administering medication, changing dressings, meal preparation, checking on their welfare and well-being by having regular contact with them, particularly following discharge from hospital. Any help and support you can give to support people to get home and to allow those who are in need of critical care to receive this will be hugely appreciated. That is the end of the message. As I said, it will be issued to all members. There will be a communications piece, and whilst I cannot answer any questions about the content, I'm happy to answer any questions of a general nature, which I will take away. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wolf, and huge apologies for failing to ask you to give us your update. It was so important and I failed miserably, I'm afraid. Do we have any questions for Councillor Wolf? I can't see any. So thank you again. We will move on to agenda item 8, questions from councillors. Question 1 is submitted by Councillor Louis O'Leary.
Thank you, Chair. Her Majesty the Queen ascended to the throne in 1952. She is this country's longest serving head of state in history. She is Defender of the Faith and head of the Commonwealth of Nations. She's a symbol of public service, and we should all be very proud of her and all her years of service to this nation. My question is, in the year of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee, we as the principal elected authority of her people here in Dorset and as a council should reaffirm our support and admiration of her. Could I request that the first verse of the national anthem, God Save the Queen, be sung by all councillors at the beginning of each full council and at the annual council meeting? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Leary, and I will give you a response myself. So, excuse me, thank you very much for your question, Councillor O'Leary, about a matter which is very close to my heart, as it happens. There is no doubt about the amazing and unstinting service that Her Majesty has given to her country, and we will, of course, have the opportunity to show our love and respect for her during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. However, I feel that a decision regarding this request should be democratically made, and therefore I commit to polling all of our members in the same way as I did regarding views on an opening prayer. I will ensure that an email will be circulated in the new year to ascertain the majority view going forward, and I thank you once again for your question. Bless you. Our second question is submitted by Councillor Nick Ireland.
There I am. Thank you, Chairman. I'll just read it out verbatim. So back in the early noughties, Dorset County Council entered into block contracts with Kerr South, which included care homes such as Buxton House, Maiden Castle and Furlong. The contract wasn't tendered in the time. It ends in 2040 with no review until 2039, and we pay for the beds regardless of whether they are occupied or not. Neither the contracts nor the costs are confidential. The information on them is easily found in the public domain, such as NHS Digital, EU contracts, and the provider's own website. And there's an example link on the screen. A recent incident where a resident at one of the care homes moved due to a change in personal circumstances from being paid for by Dorset Council to a self-funder highlighted that the weekly cost was considerably higher than at other comparable care homes, not under this block contract. The outcome was that the resident relocated and Dorset Council eventually refunded the difference. Dorset Council also agreed to notify anyone else whose circumstances changed in a similar manner that they were overpaying, i.e. paying over the odds, but have refused to do this retrospectively, i.e. anyone similarly overcharged in the past will be none the wiser. It seems grossly unfair that those who have potentially lost thousands of pounds through no fault of their own, but as a result of this council's inflexible contracts, will neither be notified nor compensated. In addition, the continuing use of these contracts exacerbates the cost pressures on our adult services. One estimate is that the ongoing cost is approximately £42,000 a week, which is about 2.2 million a year. It is interesting to note that these contracts aren't highlighted in our budget papers, nor mentioned as a potential area where we can make savings, yet we quote possible savings of approximately 350k in the Dorset Care framework. For example, a recent Care Sufficient report to People and Health Scrutiny gave an example of a service user moved into residential care at a cost of £850 a week. If the service user had been placed in one of the block contract care homes, the cost to us would have been over £1,200 a week. So given that the contracts still have nearly 20 years to run, what is Dorset Council intending to do regarding the continued waste of our council taxpayers' money on them? Thank you. Chairman, you're on mute.
It's all right. I said thank you very much for your question, Councillor Ireland. We will receive a response from Councillor Wolfe.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Councillor Ireland. In the early 1990s, Dorset Council established a charity then called the Dorset Trust and now called Care South. The County Council, as was then, granted leases of 18 council-run care homes to the charity and transferred the staff and running of the homes to the charity. Doing so enabled the charity to benefit from central government payments not available to council-run homes and reduced significantly the cost to council taxpayers of funding places in these care homes. Some of the care homes did not meet modern legal standards and by the early 2000s required major investment from the County Council as freehold owner of the homes. Rather than find the immediate cost of replacing these care homes, the County Council between 2003 and 2007 entered into 3 contracts under which, in return for Care South replacing homes, the County Council entered into long-term arrangements to block purchase beds in the homes. These arrangements benefited service users and the County Council by providing certainty about the availability of places in modern homes that met required standards and benefited Care South by providing a definite income stream that enabled them to make long-term funding commitments to pay for the construction of new homes. Excuse me. Few members before today will have been aware of this history that I have just outlined. Knowing that history, I do not believe that we can simply dismiss the contracts as a waste of our council taxpayers' money. Our predecessor councils, whether the 5 districts or the county council, made a range of decisions that we might now prefer that they had not made. As Dorset Council, we now need to be much more commercial in our approach than our predecessor councils ever were. We are reviewing the contract and these discussions are highly complex. I will be happy to update the People and Health Scrutiny Committee on progress. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wolf. Councillor Ireland, are you, I won't say happy with that, but would you find this answer satisfactory?
I would like to ask the supplementary. I would like to ask Councillor Wolf what he's going to do about potentially, well, not potentially, that they do exist, because I can't believe there was only one care user that was under our care who then moved to self-funding and potentially lost lots of money. Are we going to go back and notify those people and potentially refund them?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Sorry. Thank you, Chairman. I will give a written response to Councillor Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, Councillor Ireland. Question 3 is submitted by Councillor John Orrell.
Okay, my question. We face a new wave of COVID. I'm keen to know the situation for adult social care. We hear of care homes losing workers who are unimmunised, gone due to Brexit, or attracted to better pay in other sectors. The NHS has been closing beds on the mantra of care closer to home over the last decade. The recent new settlement for lifetime costs seems to have been consumed largely to fill NHS underinvestment, leaving a smaller share for social care. Does Dorset Adult Social Care have capacity in people and money to pick up the strain of the oncoming Omicron wave?
Thank you, Councillor Orrell. We will receive a response from Councillor Peter Wall.
Thank you, Councillor Orrell. A particularly relevant and current question. I am grateful. 97% of colleagues working in care homes in Dorset have been double vaccinated. There are a variety of reasons why the small percentage of colleagues, 3%, haven't been vaccinated to date, and this does include a number of people who are not clinically able to receive the vaccine. There are recruitment and retention pressures on the whole care sector, and that is reported nationally. It is correct that other sectors are attracting staff because of competitive salaries, which the care sector is not always able to match, and this is also highlighted as a national issue. We are working with local providers to find ways to help recruit and retain staff in the sector, and we distribute the additional government grants to providers to help with this as swiftly as we can. In addition, we have agreed reduced car parking shares for carers in order to help and provide an incentive. We are also working with health colleagues and with the region to see what more can be done, and are promoting the national Made with Care campaign with providers. This is a new social care recruitment campaign launched in England in November. We have submitted workforce returns to the Association of Directors of Adult Social Services, ADAS, along with 3/4 of other LAs across the country, requesting that increased recurrent funding is required to enable parity between NHS and social care roles, and that care workers are added to the shortage occupation list, and the salary thresholds for immigration be reduced. This is then shared with government. We would welcome, and I would welcome, any ideas councillors have in terms of promoting careers in social care. We are in a winter period and are still dealing with lots of infection in the community caused by Delta, and of course taking additional national measures as a precautionary approach to the newly identified Omicron variant. It is important to note the progress with the vaccination programme, not just progress in relation to the aforementioned care home staff, but the whole population, and the commitment to an acceleration of the booster programme over the next few weeks. It is also incumbent upon us to action the extra public health measures like working from home, wearing masks in indoor setting, avoiding unnecessary mixing and taking care to test regularly before going into higher risk settings, as these actions will all help reduce the risk of transmission. Finally, note the public health team continues to work very closely with colleagues in the adult social care sector and other high risk settings to identify, test, isolate and support organisations with effective infection prevention and control measures, as they have been doing since the start of the pandemic. The team have gained lots of experience in responding to these outbreaks and deploying local public health measures funded through additional monies from such as the Contain Outbreak Management Fund, or COMF as it is often referred to. They have recently agreed to extend local contact tracing and targeted trace testing services, acknowledging that Dorset are possibly heading into a further wave, so we can continue to provide an effective response. In terms of the specific impact of the new variant, it really is still too early to tell. But again, with the help of additional national measures, we are taking action to try to reduce the impact and spread as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ward, for your very fulsome response to Councillor Orrell. Councillor Orrell, are you satisfied with that? You're on mute, actually.
Unmute. Yes, that's a good answer. Yeah, thank you for addressing all the various points. I'm quite reassured by everything you've had to say. I note the bit in the middle that you said about making sure there's, or asking for increased recurrent funding. That does seem to be rather key, and that kind of picks up on what Councillor Flower was explaining at the earlier part of the meeting. That while we welcome the 1.7 billion funding for social care, it doesn't seem to be enough. I've got my British Medical Journal here from this week, and it's got various feedback, particularly from the Health Foundation, saying 1.7 billion is great. They estimate we probably need 7.6 billion to make to fill in all the shortfall and improve social care. So the play is really.
Councillor Orrell, is this a question, sir?
Yeah. Can we keep lobbying for more funds?
Okay. Can I answer that, Chairman? Absolutely. I'm very grateful for your support. I'm grateful that you recognise it was a particularly comprehensive response, because I wanted to make sure that the response was given to all members, and the leader and I will continue lobbying MPs mercilessly for greater funding and for a levelling up that rates down here, not just other places, if I may use a political term. So yes, I take your point. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you, gentlemen. We are now on agenda number 9, a community governance review, and I will ask Councillor Flower to introduce the report.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think the report is self-explanatory, actually, and it's here because we just need to change some of the key dates. We're still going to be able to meet our statutory obligations to submit, complete the work and do a submission, but we've had a few issues to deal with, and really we're here today just to agree the revised scheme of dates for the work. We're working tomorrow. We've had work carrying on with the leaders and deputy leaders across the council, and we've made progress, and we've had a really good response from across the parish and town councils, many of whom are quite content with where they are, but there are some that need a bit of scrutiny, a bit of a look at all the changes they're proposing. So with this, I hope members will support this evening. So without further ado, Chairman, I'd like to move the recommendation as set out in the report.
Thank you
and I
very
think
much.
I have a seconder.
I believe Councillor Ireland would like to second your proposal.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to second that. It's a huge amount of work. We needed to change this timetable. For example, there's a whole group of us going to Bridport for a whole day tomorrow, and we're in County Hall most of next Monday. So we needed to move it back, and obviously the outcome will come to before council at some point.
Thank you very much. If there are no other proposals, I would like to take a vote on this, please. Thank you.
Chairman, the voting form is now in the chat bar for members to use. But please could I ask that if for any reason any member is unable to use the voting form, that they wait until the electronic voting has ended, and I will then ask them to cast their vote verbally.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Chairman, is there any member that has not been able to use the voting form? I've received 70 responses so far.
Yes, and Andy Canning, and I've been voting in favour.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Canning.
Chairman Mary Penfold voting in favour. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Penfold. Chairman, if that is all the responses, then that is 72 votes in favour, and that is the minded to decision.
Thank you very much, Susan. I'd now like to ask our Chief Executive to take the formal decision under delegated powers.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor. So having listened to the vote that's been concluded and the decision that you would have been minded to make if this had been a formal meeting of the Council held in person, I've decided on delegated powers given to me by the Council to agree to an amendment to the Community Governance Review timetable as follows. Draft recommendations to full Council on the 15th of February 2022. Public consultation on draft recommendations 28th of February 2022 to 23rd of May 2022, 12 weeks. And final recommendations to full Council on the 14th of July 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody. We are now on agenda item 10, notices of motion change to arrangement. Following the decision made by the Audit and Governance Committee, I will ask the chairman of that committee, Councillor Matt Hall, to introduce the report and propose the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Good evening. I'm Councillor Matt Hall and I chair Dorset Council's Audit and Governance Committee. Members, before you tonight is the culmination of work undertaken after a number of concerns were raised about our notice of motion procedures. This has been through the Audit and Governance Committee, which all elected members could have attended, and I have received no questions from members since this agenda was published. We could spend a large amount of time tonight discussing numbers, but the committee was charged with finding a balance between inclusion of political thought and stopping full council from becoming overloaded with notice of motions. I think the proposals before you tonight strikes the balance of compromise, and therefore I would like to propose this. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hall. I understand that Councillor Les Fry would like to second this proposal. Is that correct?
Good afternoon. That is correct, Madam Chairman. I hope you can see me here. I'm very happy to second that motion. I think it's a compromise and I think it's worthwhile, and I would happily support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fry, and we certainly can see you there looking very festive.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Councillor Nick Ireland would like to speak.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Although I'm not a member of Audit and Governance, I did attend the meeting and spoke on the paper that was presented to Audit and Governance, and it was actually me who made the suggestion of 17 after speaking to Councillor Fry and Councillor Sutton beforehand as a compromise or a balance, as Councillor Hall has just said. And there followed a full debate amongst Audit and Governance members as to the amendment to the original paper, and it went through fine. And we could spend an awful lot of time tonight debating numbers. You know, could it be 42? Could it be 12? You know, we could all propose one. What the decision that Audit and Governance came to was what I think was the right one, and I hope that we'll go with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ireland. Councillor Kimber.
Thank you, Chair. If I may move an amendment, I feel that this, for smaller groups, is still very, very high to achieve 17 councillors. And as you know, I always fight for democracy. I believe that this should be brought down to 10. If I don't believe, as a council, that we will be overloaded with notices of motion, but I believe it's something that we should consider, and I ask all councillors to think long and hard. So I'll move this, Chair, that it's brought down to 10. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kimber. Do you have a seconder for your proposal?
Not sure.
This is Councillor Heatley. I will second Councillor Kimber's proposal.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Heatley. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Heatley?
No, my reasons are exactly the same as Councillor Kimber has put forward.
Okay.
10 is still quite a lot of people to get together, particularly for some of the smaller groups here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The proposal, Councillor Hall has given his reasons for the proposal. It has gone through the scrutiny committee. Sorry, Ordinance and Governance Committee. Councillor Fry is happy to second that. I think we should go straight to a vote, actually.
What are we voting for?
Could I say something? So Councillor Kimber brought forward an amendment. The amendment has been seconded.
Yes.
So I think now you have to open it up to members, to any members who wish to speak to the amendment.
Okay.
And then go to a vote on that amendment, on that figure of 10. And depending on whether or not that succeeds, we can take it from there.
Thank you very much. I don't know if members could hear that, excuse me, the conversation with Jonathan Mayor. Is there anybody that would like to speak for the amendment, please?
Yes.
To the amendment.
Yes, please, Chairman.
I can't see who was. Yes, please.
It's me. I've got an RTS.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Flower. Over to you, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, I've got to say that I don't become disappointed very often. I learn to live with the importance of democracy and having an opportunity to challenge one thing and another and reach decisions, as we should do. I support what Nick Ireland said earlier. This and also Matt Hall. This has gone through a process. A recommendation was put in a report that went to Ordinance Governance. A compromise was reached, as what Nick had said, to 17. And Matt Hall is perfectly comfortable with that. The opportunity to have had the sort of debate that I'm picking up we're trying to have this evening should have taken place in committee, not in full council. So I'm going to urge members to please don't dwell on this all night. Can we move business, Chairman, as soon as possible and get on with the rest of the business of the evening? Thank you.
We have Councillor Clayton. You put request to speak before the amended motion was made. Would you still like to speak?
Yes, I would, Chair. Thank you. I was originally going to support the original motion, but I'm going to slightly amend what I'm going to say to cover both. The Green Group broadly welcomes and supports the proposed change. I think the existing arrangements have proved to be far too restrictive by overly controlling which motions are suitable for debate. They give the appearance sometimes of the council meetings being stage managed. They close down avenues for creativity and they prevent the injection of some much needed interest and excitement into our debates. We do consider the need for 17 signatures too many. We weren't going to propose an amendment to that. But if 10's on the table, I think personally I will support 10.
Thank you for that.
Councillor O'Leary.
Councillor O'Leary, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to speak in support
Councillor Flower on that. I think this clearly had a lot of debate prior to it, a lot of opportunities. I think if you can't get the support of 17 members, then a motion coming forward doesn't have any chance of passing, is therefore a waste of time. So I think 17 is perfectly acceptable, and therefore I will be voting against the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Quayle, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't want to dwell on this. Agree with Councillor O'Leary and Councillor Flower. This has gone through the committee and these points should have been raised there. There was a robust discussion amongst this within the committee, and to raise this now, I think we should just get on with this.
Thank you very much, Councillor Quayle. I am going to put the amended proposal to the vote, please. Could we have that read out, or could you announce Councillor Kimber?
Susan will do that.
Well, we just need to be very clear about what we're voting on, please.
Chairman, the amendment form is now in the chat bar. So this is the amendment proposed by Paul Kimber in order to reduce the number of members required to submit a notice of motion to the 10 and not 17. So this is voting for 10.
Thank you very much. As long as it's clear to everybody. Thank you. Please vote now, if we can.
Chairman, I'm just waiting for a few more electronic votes to come into the system. The system's just a little bit slow tonight.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, Chairman, could I ask if there are any members who, I think Councillor Penfold, you would like to record your vote verbally? Councillor Penfold, would you like to cast your vote verbally?
Against the recommendation for 10. I did put the message in, but it obviously hasn't gone through. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman, in that case, the minded to vote are 61 votes against the amendment, 6 in favour and 3 abstentions.
Thank you very much, Susan.
And Councillor Somper, sorry, would you like to cast your vote verbally to amend that?
Yes, please. I couldn't get it to work. I'd vote against that, please.
Vote against, thank you. So that's 62 votes against, a minded to against the amendment.
Thank you very much. We have a point of order on the screen. Could we hear the point of order, please, Councillor Kimber?
Yes, Chair. It's been labelled at me that I should have been at certain meetings. Yes, I totally agree. Unfortunately, over the last 6 weeks, 2 months.
Sorry, Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. If it's a point of order, Councillor Kimber needs to begin by saying which standing order he's referring to. It's not an opportunity for personal explanation. It is to raise a point of order. Thank you.
I just want to say I was in hospital. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, but I don't think your point of order is taken. We will now please revert to the substantive motion, which was the original one of 17, which is on your screen, in fact. So unless we have any other amendments, could we please vote on this?
One moment, Chairman, I've just got to find the correct voting form for you.
That's fine. Take your time.
Sorry, Chairman, for the delay. I have a lot of voting forms to find. I found it now.
Okay.
The voting form is now in the chat bar, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Susan.
So, Chairman, the result of the electronic vote for the minded to decision, including a vote cast by Councillor Mary Penfold for the motion, is 72 in favour and 2 against, no abstentions. So the minded to vote is in favour of the motion.
Thank you very much, Susan. And having voted, are minded to vote, I will ask our Chief Executive, please, to take the formal decision under delegated powers.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So, having listened to members' view and the amendment which was not voted for, having heard the decision that you would therefore have taken if you'd been minded to make this in a formal meeting, Council held in person, I have decided under delegated powers given to me by the Council that the rule 14.2 little I be removed altogether, meaning that the proper officer would no longer decide on whether or not to accept a notice of motion, and that the number of councillors required to support the submission of a motion on notice be 17. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now on agenda item 11, appointment of Overview Committee Chairman. We will start with the appointment of the Chairman of the Place and Resources Overview Committee, and Councillor Spencer Flower will introduce and make a proposal.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, it's fairly straightforward, really, isn't it? I'd like to nominate Councillor Carol Jones as Chairman of the Place and Resources Overview Committee.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Wharf, is it correct that you're happy to second?
Thank you, Chair. I'm very happy to second this nomination, and I think Councillor Carol Jones will bring charm and steely intellect to the position, and I look forward to her getting this position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other proposals? Councillor Rob Hughes.
Chair, good evening. Good evening, councillors. Members.
Good evening.
I would like to propose that we appoint the Vice Chairman of this committee for Chair and Place and Resources Overview Committee, Councillor Les Fry, to the position as Chairman. He has held this post for some time now and has been carrying it out as Chairman for the last couple of meetings, and I would like to see the Council vote cross-party for Councillor Les Fry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hughes. And do we have a seconder for this, Councillor Sutton?
Yes, please. Thank you, Chair. I'd like to second the nomination because I think Councillor Fry is respected across the chamber for his rigour and diligence, and perhaps also his charm, Peter. I'm not sure about that. Whilst I'm sure that Councillor Jones would do a good job, if we are willing to look beyond party political colours in appointing members to significant roles, I think that would signal to residents our maturity as a council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sutton. So we will have a straight vote on these two nominations, please.
Chairman, the voting form is now in the chat bar.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I'm just waiting for the last electronic votes to come in.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, could I ask Councillor Andy Canning to cast his vote, please? I don't appear to have a vote from Councillor Canning.
I did already vote, and it would be for Les Fry if it didn't get recorded.
Thank you very much. Councillor Janet Dover, I don't appear to have an electronic vote from you. Could you cast your vote for me verbally, please? Councillor Dover? No.
No, hold on. I'm abstaining. Sorry.
You're abstaining. Thank you.
Sorry for the.
That's okay. Thank you. Councillor Penfold, I see that you would like to vote for Carol Jones. Can you just confirm?
Correct.
Thank you. And Councillor Molly Rennie, please could you confirm that you wish to vote for Councillor Les Fry?
Yes, please, and it has allowed me to now vote anyway.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Ryan Holloway is absent.
He is, sorry.
He is, thank you. Okay, Chairman, in that case, I can declare the vote for you. So the minded to vote in favour of Carol Jones is 42, in favour of Councillor Les Fry is 34 and 3 abstentions. So the minded to vote is for Councillor Carol Jones.
Thank you very much. Okie doke. Councillor Ezard has asked if we could have item 11 showing on screen. And it's on there now, okay. So to appoint the chairman of the People and Health Overview Committee, I'm back to Councillor Spencer Flower, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I'd like to nominate Councillor Mike Parks for this role, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Wolf.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to second this nomination. I believe Councillor Parks will provide professionalism, organisation and clarity to the role, and I think he'll do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other nominations, please? Okay. I can't see anything in the chat bar. So on that basis, no vote is required, as only one nomination has been made. So I will ask the Chief Executive to take the formal decision under delegated powers for both positions. Thank you.
So thank you, Madam Chairman, again. So having listened to members' views and heard the decision that you would have been minded to make if this had been a formal meeting of the council held in person, I've decided under delegated powers given to me by the council to confirm the appointment of Councillor Carol Jones as Chairman of Place and Resources Overview Committee, and to confirm the will of the council as no opposition has been put forward and there is no requirement for a vote, but I'm confirming the will of full council that Councillor Mike Parks is to be Chairman of People and Health Overview Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now on agenda item 12, review of political balance, and I will ask Councillor Spencer Flower again to introduce the report and propose the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think the report itself is self-explanatory. It is a result of Mike Barron moving from the Liberal Democrat group to the Conservative group, and can I formally welcome him. And so it's changed the political balance slightly, so we need to bring this to council this evening. So I'm going to move the recommendation as set out in the report, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I understand that Councillor Haynes wishes to second this proposal.
Yes, Chairman, thank you very much. I would like to propose this, second this proposal.
Thank you very much. Okay, Councillor Bartlett, would like to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, just a point of clarification really. In the table that's present,
It's still's got the health and people and place and resources committees as they used to be, not in the new setup. It says there are overview and scrutiny committees still. I just wonder whether that can be amended for future. I'm reading it wrong.
Are you talking about page 21 on the agenda?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're just, Chief Executive and I are just having a quick look at
We'll
this.
amend that.
We will amend it. Thank you very much for pointing it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so unless there's an alternative proposal, I would like to put this to the vote, please. It has been proposed and seconded. Thank you.
Chairman, the voting form is now in the chat bar.
Thank you.
Chairman, I can confirm the results of the electronic vote, and this includes a vote from Councillor Penfold, who is also voting for the recommendation. So the minded to decision is 60 in favour, against 3 and 6 abstentions.
Thank you very much, Susan. Given that it's a minded to vote, I will now ask our Chief Executive to take the formal decision under his delegated powers. Thank you.
Thank you again, Madam Chairman. So having listened to the decision that you would have been minded to make if this had been a formal meeting of the council held in person, I've decided under the delegated powers given to me by the council to confirm that A, following a review of the political balance, the allocation of committee seats as set out in the appendix to this report be approved. Noting the amendments to that appendix as suggested by Councillor Shane Bartlett, and B, that the following nominations to vacancies on the committees be approved in accordance with the wishes of the respective political groups. Councillor Mike Barron, Appeals Committee, Councillor Mike Barron, Licensing Committee, Councillor Maria Rowe, Place and Resources Overview Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So agenda item 13 is calendar of meetings. And Councillor Flower will introduce the report and propose the recommendation again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, again, the report is self-explanatory, and I would like at this point just to say a huge thank you to Democratic Services. Bringing these sort of things together isn't a 5-minute piece of work. It takes a lot of time. So I'm very, very pleased with what they've done. They've worked extremely hard. They've met the deadlines. It's so important that we get the calendar dates out in good time so that members can plan their diaries and their own lives as well, apart from within the council. And so I'm quite happy to move the recommendation as set out in the report, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I understand Councillor Claire Sutton would like to second the proposal.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'm very happy to second it, and also to second everything that Spencer said. I appreciate a massive amount of work goes into this, and we turn up at the meetings, but somebody's got to do all that, real shovel work. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sutton. We have Councillor Bartlett wishes to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Earlier today, I emailed the portfolio holder, Councillor Flower, who's also leader of the council, and the Chief Executive, Mr. Prosser, and the Chief Monitoring Officer, Mr. Jonathan Mayer, Executive Director for Legal and Democratic. And it was about my concerns again, and I've raised this every year about the lack of evening meetings that would enable those councillors of a working age who are in employment to take their full part in council meetings. It makes it very difficult for them to hold the meetings in daytime, during district council days. We did have evening meetings on district council that I was on. I know not all did, but some did. And in 2019, you'll probably remember that I raised this in South Walks House during the Shadow Council days. And each year I've raised it and been told that we will have a conversation around it. And I'm really disappointed to see that yet again we've got a draft calendar of meetings in front of us that is predominantly on the evening meetings only, with just the full council meetings in the evening. Sorry, predominantly meetings are in the daytime, but only the full council meetings in the evening. And I appreciate that the last nearly 2 years now have been extremely difficult for the council authority, for the members, and particularly for the officers. But I really do think that it's something that needs to be addressed. We shouldn't be precluding those members that are already in the chamber that are of working age and are in employment. And obviously we shouldn't be precluding any future member of the public whose right is to stand for local government office. And some of them are going to find it extremely difficult if we can't accommodate them with evening meetings, Madam Chairman. And I've raised this every year. Thank you.
Thank you for your view, Councillor Bartlett. Councillor Knox.
Thank you, Chairman. I've got a couple of points, and Councillor Bartlett's raised one of them. We do not operate in isolation. We are increasingly needing to work with our partners, and those public bodies. We need their support, and we need to have their cooperation. And although I do agree with Councillor Bartlett about potential evening meetings, I also have to recognise that there are many officers who have arrangements which don't fit with us. As councillors, I think we need to be flexible, and when you take on the journey of being a councillor, you need to recognise that you're going to be working through the daytime and in evenings, but ultimately we need to work with our partners, and that is the NHS, it's with the police service, it's with the universities, it's with all sorts of different partners. So we can't have always having evening meetings. And I understand it, but I think that as councillors we know what we're taking on. I would just like to say that this is fantastic that this calendar of events has appeared in our diaries, which is wonderful. But we also have to appreciate that, again, working with our partners, and it's going to be more and more and more. We do not work in isolation anymore. We really need to ensure that we can accommodate working in partnership and with those meetings, which might just knock a few meetings into another time and place according to agendas. The agendas now for us in local government are so swift. It's not like it was 10 years ago at all. And we must be swift of foot. And I'm just saying.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry
Bye.
to jump in there. Thank you very much, Councillor Knox, for your view. Councillor Flower.
Yeah, if I can, thank you very much, Jim. I can just react to Shane. Shane does make this point every time we bring our calendar of dates forward. The calendar of dates we've got before us this evening very much reflect the mandate that currently exists, where we did do a survey of members, and the majority of members wanted what's before us this evening. What I am willing to do, just to make sure we're still in line with current trends beyond this evening, is to have another member survey to see whether that's still in line, what we got before us is still in line with the current sentiment. But I think it would be wrong to defer tonight. This is all about giving our colleagues the earliest opportunity to plan their lives for the next year. So I'd like to move business, Chairman, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Flower. So we have a proposer, we have a seconder, and I would now put this to the vote, please. The recommendation is before you, and hopefully our voting slip will appear like magic.
Yes,
There we
yes, Chairman. The voting form is now in the chat bar for you to use.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I can now report the results of the electronic minded to vote, and this includes a vote in favour from Councillor Mary Penfold. So the votes in favour are 59, against 5 and 5 abstentions. The minded to vote is therefore in favour of the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Susan. Given that we have a minded to vote, I will ask the Chief Executive please to take the formal decision under delegated powers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So having listened to members' views and having heard the decision that you would be minded to make if this had been a formal meeting of the council held in person, I've decided under the delegated powers given to me by the council to confirm that the calendar for meetings for the period May 22nd to May 23rd be approved as attached to the report, and that our authority be delegated to the Corporate Director, Legal and Democratic Services to make any necessary changes in consultation with the relevant Chairman and Vice Chairman to ensure effective political management. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We have no urgent items under agenda number 14 and no exempt business under agenda item 15. So before I close the meeting, I would just like to say how well I think the whole council has done this last year. I don't want to sound like we're congratulating ourselves, but I really truly believe it's been a very hard year. And when you look at the achievements we've made in all sorts of areas of the council, it makes one very proud. So I just wanted to say that and wish you all a happy Christmas and a very healthy new year. Please keep safe. Thank you. The time is 21:17 and I close the meeting. Thank you.